Morning, Deborah and Maureen. Happy sunshiny day. So, gosh, we'll wait just a couple minutes and see who else might be joining us this morning. Maureen, I got your email and I will be responding to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we had a wonderful event at the OPC last
That was fun.
What did you do?
It was a wine and cheese pairing.
Oh.
Through the cheese lady downtown Rochester.
Yeah.
And Rochester wine. So, oh my goodness. And I didn't expect the amount of food and just, oh.
Yeah, the dessert was a surprise. I had not anticipated that, and I had like no room for it either. So
I found room.
Did you? It was good. It was good.
It was delicious. Oh.
Yeah. So it was face to face. You could do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, perfect. I'm so happy we're being able to do that again.
Yeah. You know, we were pretty well distanced. The tables were set pretty far apart, but yeah, it was so nice just to be able to get out. And yeah. You know, I actually met Maureen like in person.
Yeah.
Live.
I know. I looked around and I thought, do I know anybody here? No, I guess I don't. And then I saw you and I thought, whoa, there's Jan. Yeah, so that was cool. The wine was nice. I have not been to the Cheese Lady, but I took notes and I'm definitely going. I do love cheese, and I think she has I'm sure she has a really nice shop. Yeah.
You know, I've never been in there either, Maureen, although I've ordered things from them as gifts. And they had always brought them right out to the car.
Okay.
You know, because of the pandemic, they didn't want people coming in unless they absolutely had to. So. Well,
now we can go on a little picnic. We can go pick up a little cheese and a wine and go to the park. Well, no, I don't suppose we can go to the park with wine, but the backyard.
That sounds lovely, just lovely. So, hello, Josetta. Hello, Meg.
Hello.
And Patricia, we don't see you, but we see your name, so welcome. Well, should we go ahead and get started? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna do some decluttering today. And it's going to mostly be decluttering our minds and our hearts. I'll leave the physical decluttering up to each of you.
I could use some help with that.
Me too.
Especially in the basement and storage room.
It's a never-ending task. So let's just start with a meditation, and then we'll get a little bit more into how our minds work in terms of seasonal changes and things like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So go ahead and just find a nice, comfortable position for yourselves, and just either sitting up with both feet flat on the floor or lying down. Either way, just making sure that your body is completely supported so that you can relax totally. You don't have to worry about falling over or the ground not being solid enough or wherever you're sitting or lying on not being supportive. Just allow yourself to really relax. And once you're comfortable, just go ahead, allow your eyes to just gently close, either completely or partially, just softening your gaze if you don't close your eyes, and just bringing your attention inward. Just bringing your attention inside to your breath. Settling in, perhaps taking a few slower and deeper breaths than you would normally take. Breathing in slowly through your nose and then blowing the air out slowly through your mouth. With every inhalation, just imagine breathing in this calm, relaxing energy. And with each out breath, imagine blowing out tension. Breathing in calm relaxation. Breathing out, letting go of stress. And now letting go of controlling your breath. Just allow yourself to trust in the wisdom of your body to breathe just right. Your body knows what to do. Just slowing down from all the morning activities and relaxing even more. And taking a moment to scan your body from the bottom of your feet all the way to the top of your head, noticing any areas of tension that might be lingering. And as you scan, breathing into any areas of tension, just infusing those areas with calm and relaxing energy, releasing the tension through each out breath. And if you find that any tension just remains, allow it to be as it is, without judgment. Breathing in and breathing out just as you are. And when your mind starts to wander, as we know it will, refrain from judgment and just gently bring your attention back to your breath, focusing on the areas in your body where you feel the breath the most. Just tracking the breath as it enters and leaves the body during each breath cycle. Breathing in and breathing out, calm and relaxed. And now, with the power of your imagination, picture yourself standing in the middle of a large garden. This garden is filled with an assortment of trees, bushes, flowers of all colors and sizes. Taking a look around and noticing any structures in the garden. Perhaps an archway covered in jasmine or ivy, or perhaps a bench or a hammock. And in one corner, you notice a garden shed. And against the shed, a rake and some other garden tools are leaning. Gazing up, you see a blue, clear, expansive sky, and you feel the warmth of the sun on your face. There's a gentle spring breeze. It's so soothing on your face. Looking around again, you notice there's a gate at one side of the garden that leads into a clearing, and then a path that leads into a distant tree line. You spend a few moments taking in all of the beautiful colors and breathing in the sense of the trees and flowers. You begin to realize that this garden symbolizes your life and all of your experiences up to this present moment. As you look at the ground under your feet and all around you, you notice that along with many plants and budding flowers, there are a lot of dried, crumpled up leaves left behind from autumn and winter, scattered just here and there. And looking more closely, you see there are even areas where the leaves are packed down, forming a damp type of carpet, blocking some of the plants from reaching the light of the sun. And these leaves represent negative experiences, feelings, or messages that you may have received from others and internalized. The leaves also represent negative beliefs about yourself or others, as well as all of the negative energy that you've received through others. You know that the world is full of positive and negative energy. Leaves from other people's gardens can be swept up in the wind and blown into our own. So deciding it's time to clear your space of this negativity, you get the rake near the garden shed and begin raking all of the leaves through the gate, pulling them into a big pile in the clearing outside of the garden, a safe distance away from the beautiful trees, plants, and flowers that you've nurtured throughout the years. And once you've cleared out these dead leaves and the pile is ready, you decide to burn the pile and get rid of these leaves permanently. You know that other leaves will inevitably come, but you can clear them as well. Periodically, as you maintain your garden, keeping it clutter-free and allowing all of the plants to receive water and sunlight in order to bloom to their full potential. And setting fire to the leaves, you watch as the smoke rises up higher and higher until it trails off into a thin tail, eventually dissipating into the sky. And as the fire burns out, you feel lighter and free, unburdened. You're able to open your mind and your heart to new experiences, positive energy, and good health. And you can feel this throughout every cell and fiber of your being. And reaching in your pockets now, you find seeds you've been meaning to plant for quite a long time. It's time to replenish your garden with healing herbs and bright flowers. You know instinctively where to plant these special seeds because you've been tending your garden for your whole entire life. So pushing the seeds down into the earth and covering them lightly with the soil, you pat them gently and then give them just the right amount of water. And as time passes, they grow stronger and healthier, second by second. Even though you can't see them at first, you know that they're under the surface, germinating and sprouting, pushing their way up through the earth and into the light. Trusting this process, you can leave nature to do its work. You're free now to relax on that hammock or garden bench and just enjoy the beauty that's a result of your hard work. Resting now, you return to your breath and find that it's flowing smoothly and easily. Your heart and mind have so much room now for new things to grow and flourish. You decide that caring for yourself regularly is worth the effort because you feel so much freer and at peace, cleared of the negative energy that you'd been absorbing. You decide to spend more time in awareness of your body, your emotions, and thoughts so that you know when you need to tend to garden the most. Keeping it clear of negative clutter. Maintaining this abundant garden with positive energy is your new goal. And now feeling renewed and refreshed, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes. Just breathe in deeply to move more energy throughout your body. Maybe stretching your arms and legs and opening your eyes whenever you feel ready. Wide awake. Feeling energized. So perhaps in that meditation, you cleared out some of the old to make space for new thoughts and emotions and and inspirations. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about tidying up the mind. So I know that I have mentioned this before, this book by Marie Kondo, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Have any of you read this? Yes? Okay. Have you followed her, what does she call it? The Conmore method? Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
I
We'll
have
never be there.
Yeah,
But I've done it for some
right.
things.
I have the intention of doing it.
Yeah, right.
My goodness. I mean,
No.
piling all of your various categories of things just, you know, all together in one pile and then touching every single one of them. Oh my goodness. You know, but I like the philosophy. And I am going to try her techniques, but you know, she says when your room is clean and uncluttered, the goal of this book, you have no choice but to examine your inner state. So that's interesting. And I think, you know, at least for me, whenever I do attempt to declutter and you know, really clean up and tidy up, there's this momentum that built. You know, I think, okay, I did that. That felt so good. I want to do more. And then, of course, life happenings interfere. And before I know it, I'm back to, oh my goodness, that just seems so overwhelming to do again. You know, however, I do think that that philosophy of having a clean and uncluttered environment allows us to really pay more attention to our inner state. I love that goal. So, you know, what Marie Kondo recommends, as those of you who have read her book or seen her, doesn't she have I think she has a cable television show. She does, Maureen? Yeah.
I think, I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but she did have they did run a series of hers on Netflix.
Okay.
Where she went into people's homes and, you know, helped them declutter and.
Oh, I should watch.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get inspired.
Yeah.
But what her her criterion for things that you want to keep is, does this item spark joy? Mm-hmm. And you know, it's obviously meant to help us with our physical environment, but you know, it's really kind of metaphorical for clearing out our minds as well. And I'm going to quote something that she says in her book. There are several common patterns when it comes to discarding. One is to discard things when they cease being functional. For example, when something breaks down beyond repair or when part of a set is broken. Another is to discard things that are out of date, such as clothes that are no longer in fashion or things related to an event that has passed. It's easy to get rid of things when there's an obvious reason for doing so. And Marie invites people to ask themselves, does this item spark joy? So, you know, from a metaphorical standpoint, you know, if our environment is a mess, so is our mind, and vice versa. And so often in our minds, there is no obvious reason for getting rid of things that are no longer serving us well. And even an awareness of those things that are no longer serving us well can be challenging. to discover. So, you know, our minds are so often overrun by thoughts, by emotions, by deadlines, by to-dos. And, you know, this is manifested in our environment. So, you know, taking time to clear out all these old thoughts and these ideas that are no longer serving us well is really an essential ingredient to keeping our heads on straight, and to be able to, you know, clear out that old clutter. It allows the new, and the fresh and the inspiring and the purposeful to really rise up to the surface. So it kind of, what do I want to say? It's really sort of a circular kind of phenomenon that our minds will represent the clutter in our environments. The clutter in our environments will represent our minds, you know, that kind of thing. The interesting thing, did you want to say something, Josetta?
Well, I just was really thinking about, I've always said that I have so much chaos in my life. Chaos meaning even paperwork, things I'm working on, how many things are on my desk, how many things are on my counter before I start dinner. I have this way of wanting to get things up, put them away or whatever, and then I can kind of focus. And I think there's a little bit of what you're saying is that when I'm able to do that just generally in the house, it seems like then I can get other that have nothing to do with cleaning the house then, but the different kinds of things I need to write an article or do something like that. That it wasn't really procrastinating, it was moving. I had to do something to move forward that seemed crazy, that it really had nothing to do with it. But I think it's what you're talking about is that we each have our own tolerance level.
Yes.
Maybe for, I'm going to use the word clutter, but just unorganization, maybe for me would be a better word. Because, and then I can just kind of feel the freedom that comes and how productive I become.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I'm thinking of the same thing in my mind that like just before we started, I said, oh, I got this message about a friend who's dealing with cancer. And I thought, she's got to contact the nurse navigators at Beaumont. So I wrote those 4 things down so I could declutter my mind and then be able to do it. So then I don't have any of these. It's not even that they're going through my head. It's just that nothing goes through. Maybe the clutter stops. Stops all creative things from happening. I don't know, but I think that there's this whole taking the physical with the in our head and being able to see the connection. One of them is the process. The process is the same for doing it in our house as doing it in our head. And there's things about, is it out of date? Is it a thought that maybe was given to me, you know, those messages you talked about that we got as children that no longer apply or whatever it might be. And the same thing, they're no longer functional. It's not working for me anymore. Very, very good things to look at.
And I think too, by ridding ourselves of those stories that we tell ourselves, or, you know, any of those things that are no longer serving us, then we do allow space for new, for more purposeful kinds of thoughts and inspirations and creativity and that sort of thing. So I don't know, Elaine, is any of this resonating with you in terms of the artistic creative side of ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to clear things if I were to cook or something. I have to get the counter clean. I always think about clean slate because that's what I do. You know, I use canvases a lot. It's always the purity. I like a lot of white and the cleaning. You're right on with the cleaning. You're just it just makes me feel so good to get things in order in, you know, where I live, or if I'm doing something, because that does allow peace and solitude and good thinking and that sort of thing. What I'm impressed with, what I'm learning through you, is your metaphors in your introductory was just amazing, viewing the old, and it's okay to get rid of the old. You know, I had trouble with that, and that is one of the reasons why this class is helpful to me, is to declutter through, you know, my thoughts. I can clear my mind in a way, but I never really thought of getting rid of the negative stuff. So this is good.
Oh,
Huge.
I'm
huge.
So glad. And I was just going to share that one of the things I've always done back when I was working, you know, in an office, was before I would leave at the end of the day, I would have to clear my desk. I would have to, you know, put everything in files. I would put it away to the greatest extent that I could. And I would try very hard to only leave the top priority for the next day on my desk. Because when I would walk in the next morning, if I had not done that, I was immediately just, I can't even describe. I mean, my mind was cluttered. I couldn't really see what my priorities were. I couldn't really function until I had straightened my desk, put things away that I didn't need to use that day, that I didn't need to refer to that day. You know, so I didn't really realize at the time what I was doing, but it was really preparing my mind by putting away the old that was not going to serve me at that particular time, and making very clear to my mind what I needed to prioritize at any given moment. So yeah, you know, I think we all have our strategies, and we may not even realize it, but I think that in order to function, we have all learned what we need to do personally. Yeah, go ahead, Josetta.
I just wanted to mention, though, that when you were doing the cleanup part, I was really into that. But then you came to the burn leaves thing. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I had to take them. And, you know, we here in Rochester have, it's not recycling, but it is all the leaves and things that they collect. And then they have this wonderful place, I don't know if everyone knows, in John R., where they turn it into mulch, incredible mulch. They give it to us free. Anyways, or soil. Yeah, it's great. Not mulch like you buy the whatever. I mean, soiled, whatever they call it. Anyway, so I had to do that. But think about it in our mind, and think about it even physical things. Maybe we can't throw something away, but maybe there's another way of us getting rid of it so somebody else can use it, or we find another source. If there's things that we know we need to clear, either from our mind or from our physicalness, maybe it's because we need to find another method of ridding it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just came to me because I couldn't burn those things. I
couldn't either, Josetta, because I always think of leaves as like security and comfort and protection, and I gather them. So I couldn't, it was like messing with me. So I'm like, I had to envision invasive plants instead of the leaves. And that's what I did.
And I couldn't burn them because of the smoke and the environment.
Okay, it's funny.
I was like, I'm just going to pollute this whole air. I don't want this. I'm out here in the fresh air.
I know. I kept thinking it was a carcinogen.
That's funny.
Smoke from leaves is carcinogenic. That does remind me, you know, one of the things in Marie Kondo's book is giving gratitude to those things that you are discarding, you know, by saying thank you for serving me, or thank you for teaching me something. Like one of the things that really, really helped me is when I have a perfectly good piece of clothing that I've hardly worn, and I spent, you know, good money purchasing, but it just, it didn't fit well, or it just didn't speak to me, or, whatever. So it just languishes in my closet. And, what she says is those kinds of items, rather than hanging on to them saying, oh my gosh, I can't get rid of this, there's nothing wrong with it, is to say, thank you for teaching me that this doesn't work for me, that I will not make this mistake again by purchasing something like this. A similar style or a similar color or pattern or whatever it is that we don't like about it, but to say thank you and then let it go. So that's what this burning of the leaves that some of you weren't able to do reminds me of. It's like saying, okay, thank you leaves, for being a beautiful part of my life, for providing warmth for the plants that have rusted under you all winter long, and be able to do something different with them, be able to put them in yard waste and go to a place where they can become compost or whatever they do with, that's, yeah. So sometimes we have to think of different ways, I think, to get rid of our thoughts and our emotions that are no longer serving us. But thank you so much. Gosh, great things to think about. So, as we know, everything in nature, it operates in accordance with cycles and rhythms. So, we do too. We cycle back around to different themes over the course of a year. So, spring is the time when we feel this this newness, like this new buzzing, and energy levels are picking back up, and we're kind of ready to get moving, to get busy, and I think particularly this year, and maybe not everyone feels this way, but I know that we just feel like we've been in isolation. We have been in isolation. And with the weather warming up, much more sunshine. I can't remember a spring where we've had this much sunshine in Michigan. So, it just, I feel like really invigorated, and it just creates this urge to do things, to maybe make some changes, that sort of thing. So what I discovered as I was researching all of this kind of reawakening and re-energizing is that there are three primary energies that are the foundation for everything. And they are creation, transformation, and completion. So these three energies operate together to compose, the law of cycles and rhythms. So while we can't avoid nature's cycles, we can influence our own experience of them, our own personal experience of nature's cycles. So the creation energy, that is the one energy that has a ton of momentum behind it. If you've ever noticed when you have a surge of like passion or excitement or motivation, you feel as if you can take on the world. You can do anything. And, that is creation energy. It's like alive. And it's pure, it's just raring to go. So the next energy being transformation energy, that energy has a little bit of a slower and a steadier pull associated with it. So, anytime you're in the process of some sort of transformation, whether it be a relationship, a job, a goal that you're working towards, any kind of a plan, even a conversation, you're in transformation energy. You know, things are moving along at whatever pace is necessary for the process to unfold. Okay. And then the final energy being completion energy. This one packs a really powerful punch, because if you've ever achieved like a huge goal, you know how amazing it feels that all of your hard work has culminated, and you know it's peaked into achieving your goal, or having created a finished project, you know, something like that. And you just kind of, you exhale, you take it all in. It's like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's a marvelous, marvelous feeling. Do you know what I'm talking about in terms of that feeling? Okay. So, you know, all of these energies, creation energy, transformation energy, and completion energy, are important for us to understand, because we can either work with them or we can work against them. You know, whatever we choose to do, the energy is flowing. So we do have some control, so to speak. We have so little control, but we do have control over the way that we decide to work with them or against them. Make sense? Okay. All righty. So spring is considered to be a creation. You know, and that's not to say that this is the only time of year that we may feel inspired to do something new or different. However, it's a time of year when we do tend to kind of give birth to, you know, fantastic ideas, or we gain a huge amount of momentum. We're more inclined to get moving, to freshen things up. Are any of you experiencing this right now? Yeah. I know I am in a huge way. And, you know, I think there are a number of reasons for it, but I do think part of it is the cycle of nature that I'm kind of responding to. I think that in the past, I actually had been working against it to some extent. And for whatever reasons, I feel now as if I have the freedom to work with it. So we won't go into my psychological issues, but I think, you know, it does, a lot of it is related to the changes in life that the pandemic created for me. And now, not that we're finished with it by any means, but it's just created a different mindset for me. So that's me. Anyway, so, you know, one of the best ways that we can use this creation energy, if we choose to work with it, is to connect with this energy. You know, what does the energy of spring represent to you, and why? You know, maybe utilizing words that may help you understand what spring represents to you. For example, words like newness, passion, excitement, new beginnings, blooming, you know, that sort of thing. So if you can conjure up words in your mind as to what this creation energy represents for you, it can kind of be helpful in deciding whether you want to work with that energy, or maybe you're not ready, maybe it's not time. And, you know, just seeing if there is anything that comes up that inspires you. So I thought maybe we could do a little guided visualization for spring that might help us to make this choice, whether we want to work with this creation energy or it's just not a good time for us right now, maybe later. And just see what comes up. How does that sound? Good? Okay. All righty. So, once again, make yourself cozy and close your eyes or just soften your gaze. It's always best, as you know, if you're sitting, to have your feet flat on the floor, allowing yourself to really feel grounded, to feel connected with not only the ground that is beneath you, but metaphorically, feeling grounded with the universe. And just beginning to breathe slowly and deeply. And as you settle into your space, just noticing how your breath connects you to your physical body, to any sensations you may be feeling, images in your mind, thoughts you may have floating by. And taking a few moments to think about the energy of creation, how it aligns with the newness of this spring season. And perhaps using a few moments of this time to consider what this time of year represents to you. Perhaps considering the words that manifest the newness of the spring season, that bring to mind the energy of creation for you. And beginning to notice how the energy of spring is stirring within you, paying attention to how that energy may be surfacing within you. Is there something that you would like to freshen up in your life, that needs to be freshened up in your life? Is there a new project that you're feeling inspired to start? Now that the sun is out and the birds are chirping, what has you feeling passionate, excited, motivated in your life? What are you going to create? So feeling your own energy and becoming conscious of the sensations in your body as you breathe deeply. What words, phrases, or feelings come up for you? And as you think about the energy of spring and how you're experiencing it internally, perhaps asking your higher self or higher power that this idea, this project, this plan you're beginning be for your highest good and for the good of all who will be affected by it. And now imagining yourself going out into this new season and beginning the thing or things that will bring you the most joy. Bringing your thoughts and ideas into your external environment, making them come to life. Seeing yourself cultivating and harnessing the energy of spring, both internally and externally. And when you feel comfortable, and only when you're ready, just slowly opening your eyes, perhaps stretching, and just reflecting for a few moments on what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, what you experienced during this guided visualization. Perhaps jotting down a few words or sentences, if that works for you. Just taking a few moments to reflect. So, kind of in summary, this is a good time to kind of design an action plan for ourselves if we choose to use the energy of spring creation. and, you know, kind of begin to take steps toward whatever the action plan is that we want to create. And, you know, I think the most important thing that we can do when we're riding this energetic high of the spring season is to take action, because as we know, energy rises and subsides, you know, it ebbs and flows. Energy is alive and it's moving. So when we're able to tune into the energy and really harness it to create what we want in life, that is where our attention is going to go. So, you know, we want to make sure we jump on that energy flow when it is ebbing and rising, and, you know, make sure we really jump on it if it speaks to us, and maximize the season. And I do want to say too, if nothing specific came to mind, you know, during that guided visualization in terms of new ideas or plans or projects, you know, maybe at a future time when you have a few moments, just kind of revisiting your bucket list and seeing, are there things that you've put on the back burner because you've been too busy? Is there any newness that you can create in your life right now if you're choosing to? Once again, it's not always the right time, the right place for many, many different reasons. But if you are choosing to attempt to harness this creation energy of spring, you know, what newness is there that you might have on that bucket list that you really want to grab onto and maximize the energy for that? You know, sometimes it's just weeding our gardens, you know, as we did in that first visualization, getting out there, cleaning up the winter debris, you know, or maybe just getting out in nature and looking at all those green shoots that are coming up right now. I can't tell you how much joy I'm getting from watching. I don't even remember what I planted, the bulbs that I planted, but I'm so excited to see that nobody ate them. So, you know, that's giving me a tremendous amount of joy. Yet. I know my husband said last night, be sure and let me know when you see things coming up, because we got to put the deer repellent on them. But, you know, it just whatever it takes for us to feel invigorated. And I would have to add that yes, spring is a time to really feel freshly, I think, invigorated. And at the same time, I think once we tap into what creates that excitement and that passion for us, we can tap into it at any time. It may take a little more effort in the midst of, you know, gray, cold, gloomy winter, but I think that awareness, you know, I always go back to awareness when it comes to mindfulness. Once we become aware of what speaks to us, we have a much greater chance of tapping into it. So